Jeremy Veldman, Brian Hancock, welcome to another episode of Telescope Tips. And again, we're talking today about all things binocular astronomy. Now, if you're looking to up your game a little bit in the area of binoculars, we've got today a hybrid between a telescope and a pair of binoculars, basically a binocular telescope. So Brian, why don't you talk about what we've got today?
Yeah, well, we had a question on YouTube where someone said, hey, aren't binoculars limited in field of view and in magnification? And that's true for the binoculars that we looked at earlier. If you're using the 10 by 50 Oberwerk, everything you look at is going to be at 10 times, and you're not going to be able to switch. And so maybe you want more versatility. If you want more versatility, you can consider a binocular telescope. The thing that makes it the most versatile is it has interchangeable eyepieces. So you can take your 1¼ eyepiece out and you can switch it up with your 2 eyepieces of choice. You have to have 2 eyepieces for a binocular telescope.
It's similar to a telescope, right? We can just pick whichever eyepiece you want to put in there and it's interchangeable. Only in this case, you got to have 2 of the same ones.
Right. And you are still going to be limited in magnification more so than you would with a telescope. So this particular eyepiece is an 18 millimeter APM, the same as the binocular telescope. It's a pretty decent eyepiece, and it gives about 22 times magnification. I can, maybe go up in magnification, with this binocular, maybe to about 40, 45 times. Mm-hmm. Then the views start becoming a little too dim to be pleasing. So you think now, if you had a telescope and you could only go up to 45 times with the telescope, you would be a little disappointed, right?
Yeah. But I tell you, I love this piece of equipment as a complement to what I normally bring to our dark sky observing, which is the 20-inch Dob. But in this particular case, you get, first of all, you can use both eyes instead of one, unless you have a vinyl viewer on your telescope.
Right.
But a piece of equipment like this is great for wide field of view. It's kind of a spacewalk where you can just fall into it.
Right.
So if you're looking at a swath of the Milky Way, or the Veil Nebula, or Markarian's chain and the Virgo cluster, something like this is ideal for that.
Right. This really excels at looking at open clusters.
The Pleiades would be a great example, or M6
perfect.
or M7 in Scorpio.
So again, you need to consider what kind of things do you like to look at, and the best way to figure that out is to go out to some star parties and look through, different telescopes, look through different binoculars, and that'll give you an idea of this is what I'm really interested in, because I'm sure, Jeremy, you've experienced this before. Usually an amateur astronomer, they've got one little thing that really excites them. Some people are really into observing the planets, and for that you definitely want a telescope. And some people like me, they enjoy looking at nebulae, at not just, I enjoy looking at those galaxy clusters, and I enjoy those wide field views. So I enjoy looking at Jupiter as much as the average person, but it's not particularly my thing.
Right.
If I had to choose a binocular or a telescope, I would choose binocular.
But I tell you, I love it at our observing sessions where you and I focus on the same thing with 2 different pieces of equipment. I've got my Dob maybe on a globular, and then you've got this on the same object, and you can see 2 different points of view. But I can't do with my Dob on the Virgo cluster what you can do here, which is get several galaxies in the same field of view.
Right.
And another thing, I remember one time we were looking at Sirius and M41. I can get M41 in my Dob, but you were able to show me Sirius and M41 in the same field of view with a binocular like this, and that was really cool to see. You're not going to see that in a big Dob. So.
And you can do a Messier marathon a lot quicker with this than you can with a big Dob. It's pretty easy to find things in this. You have a red dot finder. Take this off. You've got a red dot finder here, and you can adjust it to help you find things. And because you still have the 90-degree configuration, You can look at the zenith, no problem. Usually I like to get an observing chair and sit down in the chair.
It's a lot easier looking at the zenith with this than it is with my telescope, where you got to get on a ladder to
Right.
look at it. So,
And for me, I'm all about binoculars. I would be happy for the rest of my life if I could spend time with this and border one skies.
there you go. And what are we looking at budget-wise in terms of for a piece of equipment like this?
This actually is not too much more expensive than the Canon 12x50. So this is, I believe this is about $1,400. That doesn't, and it does come with a set of eyepieces.
Okay.
So it comes with these eyepieces. But of course that cost goes up. You want to have a lower magnification or greater magnification. Well, you have to invest in eyepieces. So that's something to consider. And the other nice thing about this is when you're through, see you later.
Easy to pack up and go
Yeah.
away, right? Yeah, the portability and ease of transport is always a nice
Right.
thing to have. So, now, last question for you.
Sure.
Eyepieces, what do you typically recommend to get the most out of something like this?
I would say 3 sets of eyepieces. You want, just like a telescope, you want low magnification, mid magnification, and high magnification.
So for low, what are we looking at? 20 millimeter, 30 millimeter?
Yeah, for low 24 millimeter, and this is going to give you what somewhere around a little bit less than 16 maybe. The lowest you can go with the binocular, so but about 16 millimeters. You don't get much advantage. I would say the 24 millimeter panoptic would be the lowest I would go with this. Now of course in 1.25 inch, you can get the 32 millimeter, but the nice thing about the 24 millimeter panoptic is I believe the configuration of that eyepiece that gives you the widest field of view possible in an 1.25 inch eyepiece.
Yeah.
Now you can get a wider field of view in a 2-inch eyepiece, but for 1.25 inch eyepiece, so you're not really gaining anything by going with the 32 millimeter. Because it's the same field of view, it's just less magnification. For the mid-range, I actually like the eyepiece that it comes with. This 18 millimeter APM. It's called a flat field eyepiece, and it is just about flat to the very edge. I see a little bit of curvature at the edge, but that's getting a little persnickety to find it. It's actually a pretty good eyepiece. Cost to benefit ratio is great, so I would say keep this eyepiece for the mid-level, and I like Delos for maybe for the
higher end.
Right, for the 1.25 inch. You can get something like the Doctor that is very expensive, but I think a Delos is a really good high magnification eyepiece.
And again, you're using both eyes with this, so you're really getting a spacewalk that you can fall into. Some of the most spectacular views
Right.
that I personally have seen at our observing sessions have actually come through something like this. So it is a good option to consider. Again, when you're looking to get started, something that's not necessarily going to kill the budget, and it's kind of a hybrid between binoculars and a telescope. You get kind of the best of both worlds.
Right. And so you can get these through APM in Germany. I believe now they have a store in America, Outdoor Sports Optics, but I think it's in Pennsylvania. I don't quite remember where it is. But I would not hesitate to order from them again.
APM in Germany website?
APM in Germany. So it's just apm.com as far as I know. But if you Google APM telescopes, it'll come up. I had no problem getting the shipment from Germany. It was actually pretty quick. I think it was like 5 days I had it.
Wow.
And it was packed really well. And but Oberwerk also has binocular telescopes, and I would also not hesitate to deal with Oberwerk again.
Yeah.
A really good guy there. So I believe Oberwerk is a 45 degree configuration, and APM has both. They have 90 degree and 45 degree. And why would you want 45 degrees? If you really like looking at the in our part of the world, the Milky Way, Sagittarius is usually pretty close to the horizon. It's maybe about 30, 40 degrees up. And sometimes 45 degrees is actually more comfortable if you do a lot of viewing in that area. But if you do a lot of viewing in the zenith, you're going to want 90
degrees. Straight up. Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks again, Brian.
Sure.
I can't wait to look through these again when we get out to a dark sky location. So, again, guys, I want to remind you that the Memphis Astronomical Society meets once a month, first Friday of the month, Christian Brothers University at CC Hall, room 155. We also conduct 2 dark sky observing sessions in an area near Memphis, if it's clear. So our website is memphisastro.org. And if you're interested in more videos in this series, subscribe to our YouTube channel. For Brian Hancock, I'm Jeremy Veldman. Look forward to seeing you guys on our next episode.